Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it is great pleasure that I'm having a chat with Mercedes Lander from Kittie, who have returned after a 13-year hiatus. They've made a triumphant return with their latest album, Fire. They were formed in 96. They did burst onto the scene around 1999 with their debut album, Spit, which I was rocking out to as a young 20-year-old. And they quickly became a force in the new metal genre, not only with new metal, but also for you guys being an all-female band and really, really setting the groundwork for what I believe for a lot of bands to follow at that time. Over the years, you have evolved into a full-fledged metal band, releasing 6 albums that have showcased your growth and versatility. And now with Fire, Kittie, you've fused elements from your entire discography into a volatile and powerful record, proving that they have lost none of their venom, if not showing their evolution for both old and new fans alike. They are due to hit Australia with Jinjer, kicking off next week, which I am super excited about. Mercedes, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like that was like, as you had mentioned, yes, that was an epic introduction. Thank you.
No worries. What was it like coming back after that hiatus?
Um, for me personally, I played through the entire Kittie hiatus with a bunch of other bands.
The
But
Doom Sludge Band and that and all sorts. I've checked
yeah,
all that out, dude. Super cool. Don't worry,
nice.
I was listening.
But like things like I feel like it was just kind of like putting on an old pair of boots. You're like, wow, this fits, right? And so we really hadn't played together in a couple years. I think the last time Morgan and I had really played together was for the release of the documentary in 2017. So we started playing pretty once we had kind of figured out that we'd booked those shows and we got everything all figured out. Um, we started jamming together like 6 7 months before the show, just so we could kind of knock the dust off. And it was like, oh yeah, this is great. And there were different times where Ivy came and jammed with us, and Tara came and jammed with us, and it definitely was just like putting on an old pair of boots. It was like, wow, this fits.
And what was it like coming back for that first show back after a while? Was that Sick New World Fest, or what was that one, the
So
first one you come back for?
the first show back was Blue Ridge Rock
Yep,
Fest in
that's right.
Virginia, the ill-fated Blue Ridge Rock Fest. But it was fantastic, let me tell you. And it definitely helped that we had like so many people that we were friends with that were also on the bill, that we've known for years, that we had played shows with for years. So it was really nice to have those people surrounding us and kind of cheering us on as well. And everybody just seemed really excited and stoked that we were playing again. And the crowd was amazing. If you look at video footage of us on YouTube, you can literally see us like smiling ear to ear the entire time we're playing. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that time away would have reinvigorated you with the band as well, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And the latest album, Fire, is absolutely fire. You guys kind of were known as a new metal band, but Fire is, and you guys have evolved into so many more different elements than just a new metal band.
Yeah, it's there's like an airplane coming over as we oh, it's a helicopter. Even better. I think maybe only our first record is new metal, and
Yep.
everything else is pretty scathing. And there's varying degrees of it too, right? For We've definitely grown and changed
Yep.
and developed our sound, and we're not afraid to try new things, right? So, there was definitely a little bit more experimental stuff on some of our earlier records, like Until the End and Funeral for Yesterday. But I think once we hit In the Black, we kind of hit our stride. And yeah, like, I mean, yeah, the first record's new metal, but I feel like it also doesn't really fit into that category as well. Uh,
It was
I think,
funny because that time is like kind of bands, even with just a similar sound, I remember were just lumped into this new metal kind of category, and they kind of
yeah.
weren't. And compared to now, it's like 500 different metal genres you're trying to kind of categorize into everybody. Sometimes I just want to go, it's just heavy metal, dude.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. It is just heavy metal. But I think I don't know. To me, that first record, like going back and listening to it, it doesn't sound like the new metal of that era. In my personal opinion, in my personal opinion, it sounds like to me, it sounds like a mix between Marilyn Manson's Portrait of an American Family and Silverchair with like screaming over top. That's what it sounds like to me. And like Silverchair, like obviously Frog Stomp.
Yep.
With the exception of maybe Brackish. I think Brackish is the outlier because it had those DJ beats, the jungle beats behind it. But yeah, really, I think that there was definitely some pigeonholing, and like obviously that's that's a whole other conversation for another day. I feel like we could talk about that for hours, right? But yeah, like I mean, that's probably the closest thing that we would identify to new metal is that first record.
And what was the songwriting process for this album? You know, getting back into the studio and making a new album after like 13 odd years.
So funny enough, like we had gone into playing these shows not this was not on our 2023-4 bingo card. We did not expect to write a new record. We were like, oh, we'll just play some shows, see what happens. But since everybody at the time, everybody kind of lived far away from each other, with the exception of Morgan and I. Ivy lives in Michigan now, so she's like across the border, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic. Morgan's close to me still. And then Tara was all the way on in Calgary at the time. So in Alberta, which is, a couple thousand kilometers away. Uh, so it was, it was interesting because we did do a lot of like Dropbox writing where we would like send riffs back and forth and stuff like that, which was very nice. And then Morgan and I would get together and we kind of like piece everything together. But yeah, it was same process, just, like a little more removed. When Tara would come to Ontario to go visit her mom, and when Ivy would go up north to go visit her mom, they'd always drop in and we'd have a jam. And we'd kind of, Morgan and I would record things and they'd learn the songs and then we'd jam them. So there's still a lot of jamming going on, which is pretty fantastic. Because that's my favorite way to write, is just to kind of, like work it out in a room together. But this time, for next time, I assume there's going to be a next time. Tara moved back to Ontario, so she is a little closer to us, which is nice. So one step closer to us, like jamming it out, the four of us in a room together again.
Yeah, and times are a little bit different than back in when you made that last album. You're able to communicate a lot more through platforms like this and share remotely. So when you do get in the studio, you can just kind of get into it, making the album as well. How would you describe your evolution through the band? Because as you said, you have kind of grown and evolved. Like you have some really cool elements of melodic death in this and all sorts of stuff, which I find really bloody cool.
The evolution of the band, I just think it's just like growing as musicians and songwriters, really.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, we really took our time with writing this record too, and like picked things apart and changed things. And, like, Morgan and I would jam and I'd be like, oh, we should do this. And then we try it and it would work or it wouldn't work, or, Tara would send us a file with the guitar parts, and we really revised these a lot more than we normally would. And I think we really wanted to make sure that we were making the biggest impact with this record, and we really did take our time writing it. And there's a lot of songs that didn't make it on the record too.
That's next album.
So I know, right? And we'll just kind of rework those and take the good parts and leave the bad parts. And but yeah, like, I mean, I think it's just really like the evolution of us as maturing songwriters, and like a more mature version of the band, and really like bringing all of our exterior experience back into the band, which is nice.
Yeah, and you guys signed to Sumerian Records for that album as well, which is really cool. They're a good label. I'm glad you guys have got onto a really good label for this. But were you guys kind of surprised by the fan response from you coming back as well? Because for me, it's been really good to see. I've been kind of following you guys since way back on that first one. So when you guys announced that you were coming back, and I seen the response for that, all these old fans, but also a whole bunch of new fans jumping on board, it would have been really good for you guys to see, yeah?
Yeah. We were so nervous.
Yep, I bet you.
Because we were like, again, like we had just been in the press, like being like, yeah, we're not doing a new record. We're just gonna play some shows, whatever. We'll see. And then, we when we were young, I saw Ash there, and Ash used to be our the owner of Sumerian. Ash used to be our booking agent, like 20 years ago or whatever. Think almost 20 years ago. We were just kind of like, hey, like, we chatted, and then he sent me a text message, like a couple days later, and was like, I would like to put a Kittie record out. and we were like, we don't have any songs. And he was like, okay, well,
Like him.
Yeah. And then, like we were really concerned that people were like, we were worried that people weren't going to care, because we had resolved to kind of just do like legacy projects and just, really not make new music with Kittie. So it was a great surprise. I mean, like the Eyes Wide Open video has over 1 million streams on YouTube. There's everything of like, One Foot is almost at 1 million. It's been insane. Everybody, we made it onto a bunch of like a best of 2024 lists, which I thought was really neat. And we just got nominated for a Juno, which is the Canadian
musical
Grammys.
Yeah. I know the Juno. I've interviewed a lot of bands out of Canada. It has a fire music scene over there as well. It must be kind of cool to be a part of Canada as well, and kind of getting out, but it must feel a bit weird getting down to America and getting back home at the moment, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more snow here right now, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Can you tell me, are there any songs that kind of really stand out for you for Fire that you really like, a favourites off the album? I know it's like picking a child and it's hard to do and it changes from week to week. I know it does for me when I listen to albums, but are there any at the moment that kind of really like you're enjoying?
I think when we go out and we do another headlining show, like there's some songs that I'm definitely like really stoked to play live that we haven't yet played live. I Still Wear This Crown is one of them, but I think my overall favorite song to play is Vultures. And that is one of the earlier songs that we wrote. And I can't really describe it other than the fact that that song is just furious. Yeah. So it's just fury. So, it's very busy too. So I quite enjoy playing that song live. And you'll just have to come to a show in Australia and see if we play it.
Exactly, and the tour does kick off next week, 21st, Brisbane Fortitude Music Hall, then going down to Sydney, you get a day off, 23rd in Sydney, Hordern Pavilion. Pavilion, pardon me, 25th in Melbourne. Cool. You get a couple of days off in between, so you get to do a couple of things here and there. 26th, you'll be in my home city of Adelaide, Hindley Street Music Hall, and then rounding it out over in Fremantle at the Metro. What was it like getting announced for the Jinjer tour as well?
So we knew about it for quite a while before we obviously let everybody know. So we were just we felt like really excited that we were, asked to do the tour. We haven't been to Australia in 13 years almost. Yes. So I feel like we come about every 12 years.
What was that tour? Because I think I caught you guys. Was that like...
The last time we were in Australia was Soundwave.
That's where I seen this. I was there. Yeah, I was a little bit flying high. I was a little bit younger back then, but yeah, that was a really, really good set. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And for me, like bands like yourself, I kind of did mention in the intro, Kittie, I feel like did lay the groundwork for a lot of these bands like Jinjer, Infected, Rain, and these bands to kind of come through with these amazing vocalists out front there. Do you ever sit back and think, man, I probably suppose you don't, but for me, I really do think about it. I'm like father, 3 girls, and for me, I've always been proud of what you guys done to kind of lay that groundwork to kind of make it a little bit easy. But there was probably some challenges that you all faced as a band there.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on challenges. But yeah, no, it's very nice. And I am very excited for the future of, women in music and women in metal in general. I just feel like, when we started things, we weren't very accepted. Things were a little different. Yep. But now it's just like, wow, I'm floored.
We still have steps to make, I believe. We still have a lot of bloody steps. You notice I didn't use that term female-fronted metal band because I bloody hate it. I really hate that term with a bloody passion, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not my favorite. Not my favorite. It's not his favorite either. So.
No, I don't. Thank you so much, Mercedes. This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to let you bounce out and get on to the next one. Goodbye to you and the Kittie. Do you have any last words, shout-outs, and thank yous you'd like to add in there?
Well, Thomas and I just came from the vet, and but yeah, no, honestly, we are so excited to see everybody in Australia. It's been a long time, and me personally, like I am just looking forward to meeting everyone and seeing everyone again, and spending some time with my Australian fam. Like we haven't been there in a long time, so I feel like this is going to be a really exciting adventure for us and Kittie fans, and hopefully along the way we make some new fans too.
It's going to be an absolutely amazing tour. Everybody needs to go out and grab their tickets like today because this will sell out and you will be spewing you haven't caught it. Mercedes, thank you so very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.